Welcome to Speak Your Mind with me, Louise Kaunisela. You are what you eat is the belief that to be fit and healthy, you need to eat good food. Good local natural foods are abundant in our country, and we're so lucky to have so much of it. Today, we'll talk about the importance of eating healthy food and why you should avoid processed meals, as well as how to prevent diabetes. My guests today are the Minister of Health and Medical Services, the Honorable Dr. Ifuremi Wangainambete, and surgeon and Pacific Island Food Revolution co-host, Dr. Chone Hawe. A warm welcome to the both of you. Bula Vinaka. Now, first, I think we should start off with something with the Honourable Minister, just giving us, just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I'm a doctor by profession, a surgeon, and I've been working there for up to 20 years before I came into government, and I've enjoyed that experience. Worked really hard in that area, and also enjoying this experience in being able to provide some leadership and have some thoughts about strategically how we go from here in terms of health and how we protect our health. So really, that's my story.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Chone Hawe, you might like to tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Thank you, Louise. The Honourable Minister was a mentor of mine back in the days when I was in government. We went through the same issues that we are probably going to be discussing more of today, diabetes and diabetic amputations. I spend a lot of time now advocating against NCD, specifically diabetes, trying to reduce diabetes amputation rates, and going at it from different angles, just changing the narratives a little, changing the approaches, and hopefully we can all arrive at the same thing we are all targeting to do.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Chone, as co-host to the Pacific Island Food Revolution, this is a TV show with a difference. So why is it so unique?
It is a Master Chef-like competition, and we are bringing entertainment, but we are trying to address nutritional issues. And we, for a long time, we've tried to think about an approach that will not make people feel like we are pointing fingers at them. Instead, we want people to be proud of their local food, of who they are, where they come from, and associate that with a food show. Therefore, it's the first of its kind to have such a deep social background to it, a Master Chef show.
Yes, and it's shown on FPC TV as well, and we've got a replay coming up. Now, Dr. Chone, why does it matter if we eat local, healthy Fijian food compared to processed food?
Local foods come with all the natural ingredients that are friendly to the body, basically. And Fiji and the other Pacific Islanders we are fortunate, we are blessed in that we have all these in abundance. And it is not only nutritious, it is medicinal as well. Most of our local vegetables, fruits, and the ones that have been introduced to us by our the other ethnic groups that have come to share Fiji, we have come to share Fiji with. Things like turmeric and the likes. Sure. These are very nutritious and high on the nutrition table globally. And so it's all a doorstep away. And it is very important for our health and well-being. And so that's why we are trying to promote it.
I know, we're so lucky we got a local market. I mean, when I go, marketing on Saturdays, I'm like, man, we are really, truly blessed to see all the different colors of the vegetables and, all that. So you've said that local Fijian food has or is going out of style for many Fijians. What do you mean?
Going out of style in the sense that, there's a lot of influencing factors that created this by default. Our social development status, the rural to urban drift. People are more populated around the urban centers, and therefore the local fresh food is not readily available, accessible. And right now it's becoming unaffordable. And so it's going out of style, for one, because of that.
Okay.
And because of strong marketing by processed foods. They have all the bucks to pay for their lovely ads, and they are just, people are influenced more by what they see on television and on screen.
True, that's a good point, yes.
And so it creates this out of style trend.
Okay, so what does processed food mean, if you'd like to explain it simply?
Processed food is any food that has been altered through a process of drying, heating, cold storage, manufacturing, whether you cut it. So, for example, you can wheat grains turned into flour. That's processing. Fish cut into pieces, added with artificial flavors, oils, and then packed in a can.
Oh, okay. So that's something I want to ask you. So, like even canned food, that's processed food.
That is processed food.
I thought that
once you alter a natural food type, you are processing it.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, most of our food sources these days are multi-processed. They've gone through process after process before it reaches our plate. And that means addition of chemicals, you remove certain natural ingredients to make it look better, more appealing in terms of color, but you may have lost all the nutrients that it came with naturally.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you very much. So it is bad processed food. It's best to avoid it, I should say. All right, then we'll be back on Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, the only classic hits station in the country. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. My guest in the studio, I have two doctors, that is the Minister of Health and Medical Services, the Honorable Dr. Ifremi Wangai-Nambete, and also surgeon and Pacific Island Food Revolution co-host, Dr. Chone Hawea. Honorable Minister, you've traveled all over the country helping Fijians understand the importance of their well-being. What are some of the diet-related challenges that you noticed on the way?
I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to go around the country, as you've alluded to. One of the reasons is the fact that we have nearly 220 facilities, and we are in every geographical location. There's a possibility in any remote location, the only things that you might see is, a health facility, a school, and the church. And so, being able to visit our staff and talk about the issues, but also the opportunity to advocate for health. I've been very blessed, and I was just sharing with Johnny recently, just, witnessing all the different types of vegetables and, food that we have up in the highlands and also in the islands. And, and I must say that there's still a lot of healthy food out there. The people in the rural areas, and they have it every day. And, there have been many areas where I've come across, and they say we call Roro every day because we have it every day. And, it's just so exciting to see that, all is not lost. There's a lot of many areas where they're still having the diets that are inconsistent with healthy lifestyles and healthy food and so forth. I've also seen it in the semi-urban areas. Really nice to be able to visit informal settlements and see that is something they're championing. So there's a cohort of the population that's beginning to realize that we are blessed with fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're championing it, whether it be social clubs in Suva, or whether it be in the informal settlements or even in the rural areas. And I think the advocacies that have been put out there over the last few years have been very helpful in that regard.
Very true. Now, I had a story from someone who said, this guy from the village sold his fish, fresh fish, and then turned around and went and bought a canned tin fish from I suppose maybe they're fed up of eating fresh fish, maybe. But anyhow, Honourable Minister, what role does food play, if at all, in the diagnosis of lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, cancer, heart issues, and others?
The food doesn't actually come to a diagnosis. Food actually, many people say we are what we eat, sort of thing. But I think the most important thing to realize is that the body, with all due respect, is a machine, and as a machine that needs to be able to work, it needs to be able to be fed, and the appropriate feed has to be given to it. And I think the main challenge that we have at the moment is being able to find the right balance between our healthy diets and the use of processed foods, at certain times. Because certainly there are some instances where, I get home late in the evening,
Yes.
And might not be able to have time, very late to be able to make a decent meal. But having said that, on the weekend, everyone is around. We have an opportunity to be able to make sure that we all have, healthy food, and regularly being able to wake up early in the morning, make sure that the sandwiches that the children are going to take to school are actually quite healthy, and having fruits and vegetables with it.
Yes.
So it's about being able to find that right balance. And as I said, I've seen the fruit of all the work that's been done, including the good work that's been done by Dr. Hawe and his group in the Pacific Island Food Revolution.
Yes.
Because I think that's beginning to make an impact right across the country. And
Excellent.
we have a nation that's very literate. We also have a nation that's very connected. So even in Laos, for example, in Moala, Moala, because there's internet. They can be able to access that. And so this is all being shown to them. And I think that we just need to get a bit more traction on the ground around this, and to be able to realize that there's a realization, and that when I was in New Zealand a few years back, there was a realization within the communities, and people were going healthy, running, walking, choosing, and the same thing is happening in Fiji.
Yes.
But we just need to up the volume.
Yeah, keep pushing it, because, people are actually starting to change after, they fell back a bit. And then when you have all the news going, like with the help of Pacific Island Food Revolution, and also you, Honourable Minister, just getting the word out that your diet is very important to lead a healthy life. So many call diabetes the silent killer. So how bad is it for Fiji?
We did a step survey back in 2002. The prevalence then was about 16%. We did another step survey in 2011, and it was about 17%, 17 point something percent.
Okay.
If you look at 1970, the prevalence was 2%. Most of that increase happened in the 80s and the 90s.
Okay.
Most of that increase, if you look at that data. And so, on one end, we're saying, look, we're having more and more diabetes. But part of it is the fact that we have more screening available. We have the tools to be able to do more screening. So when you screen a lot more, you're going to be able to find disease a lot more.
I see.
The other thing is that with diabetes, one thing that's happening in the medical world, and Dr. Hawe can allude to this, is that the numbers keep changing. So before we used to say, to be a hypertensive, you have to get 140 over 90. That's specifically changed, because now if you look at some of the Western world, they're saying 130 over 90 is actually hypertensive now.
Oh.
You know, so the numbers have also changed. In effect, we also know with diabetes, you have diabetes, you have no diabetes, and you have the pre-diabetics. So now the focus is on the pre-diabetics. How do we prevent the pre-diabetics from getting diabetes, and how do you prevent the non-diabetics to be pre-diabetic? So there's a whole game change in the values that are being used. But I think the most important thing to realize is that we need to do that survey, and that's something that I'm calling, that we need to be able to do a step survey, be able to see really exactly where we are. Our amputation numbers, as Dr. Howe said, about 2-3 years ago was really bad. We were doing about 3 a day, and it's now tapered off to about 2 a day now. So I'm not trying to be ecstatic about that we've gone from 3 a day to 2 a day, because I think we should actually advocate for none a day. But the fact that we haven't gone to 5 a day, gives me some hope.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's a decrease from what it was before. But we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. And my guest in the studio, it's so wonderful to have two doctors to share their knowledge with us. Minister of Health and Medical Services, the Honorable Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete, and surgeon and Pacific Island Food Revolution co-host, Dr. Chone Hawea. So we'll just finish off from where we left off, Honorable Minister. So on diabetes, does 2020 look promising? If so, or if not so, please explain why.
You've got to look at the glass, and obviously the glass is either half full or half empty. I like to see it as half full, and I think there's many opportunities that are there to continue to advocate for healthy living. As I've alluded to, a lot of work has been happening in media and in social media, and also the work of NGOs, and and the great work done by Pacific Island Food Revolution, and also the work that we've been doing in the Ministry of Health together with the partners. And I see it is being a promising year in terms of, having a lot more advocacy around healthy living. One thing is for sure, that what we found with the measles campaign was that people, they understood what the message was. They understood about being healthy. They understood about protecting themselves and protecting their children. And they did the right thing. They turned up in numbers, and for those that didn't turn up in numbers, they had particular reasons why, and we took it to them. But we realized, and that's something that even some overseas observers are beginning to tell us. They're beginning to say, look, Fiji has actually moved ahead in terms of the population's desire for healthy living, because they've turned up in numbers. Day one, there were many people down in the Schooner Park just waiting in line to get, and that, for me, gives me a lot of hope that we are beginning to see our health as something very important.
Yes.
The other thing that's happened is many of us have lost a relative at a very young age, 30s, 40s, 50s. And that's also having an impact. People are coming up to me and saying, look, I've lost a loved one from a heart attack, from a stroke, from cancer at this particular age, and I don't want to have that. So all these variables working together, are beginning to change that. And, I'm very hopeful, as I said earlier, what we need to do is just make sure that we get a lot of traction moving forward from this.
Yes, the message is definitely getting across, people wanting to live a healthier life. I mean, you can just see here in Suva, if you go to the seawall, you see people walking, and that's a good thing. So the message is getting through because of
10
media.
10 years before this, you can hardly see people walking on the shore.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. So anyway, Dr. Chone, you're a surgeon by profession. For years, your role was to tend to Fijians who were diagnosed with diabetes and even amputating limbs. In your view, is diabetes a serious killer?
Absolutely. It is a serious killer, especially if we remain ignorant and if we do not have the kind of desire to have well-being, to be better health-wise. And a lot of a lot of people that have had their amputations only found out they had diabetes when they were coming in for an amputation.
Ooh.
Because the infection to their limbs were that serious.
So you mean to say that they didn't even know they had diabetes?
Yes.
So that's bad.
And so it is definitely a serious condition, because it not only, the complication is not only to the limbs, it affects the heart.
Yes.
You can have a heart attack due to diabetes, you can have a stroke due to diabetes, you can have kidney disease and kidney failure due to diabetes, you can have blindness due to diabetes. And so amputations that I was doing is just one of the many complications that diabetes have. But all is not a doom. If we do the basic well-being activities, one of it is healthy nutrition. We are almost halfway there in terms of tackling this issue.
Because I believe that diabetes can be controllable if you follow the doctor's advice or nurses on, having the proper diet and monitoring your sugar levels as well as your high blood pressure.
Yes. A lot of people who have had their sugars tested and were told that they were diabetic have had a denial phase, and people tend to stay away from the health facilities due to many reasons.
We're not sure what reasons they are. Right?
Some of it is based on fear, myths about what will happen to you. But for those that have actually turned up, they have found the benefits in that diabetes is controllable, and they have complication-less free life, and they are able to do what they want to do with the condition.
Yes, with the condition, that's right. Okay, so Honourable Minister, what would you say to someone who's listening in and not diabetic? What should they do to stay healthy?
Again, first and foremost, as I said earlier, we're a very literate country. We have, a lot of our population are well educated, so they completely understand what needs to be done.
Okay.
I think one of the doctors was telling me this morning, she said to me, Udwai, it's not an issue of knowing, it's an issue of actually doing it. And I realized that was the important thing, is that, we have a lot of knowledge there in the community. It's actually about, just encouraging one another. We actually got to practice the things that we know around, being healthy, about the food, about the exercise, about making sure that we rest well, about the mental, state of mind, and making sure that, if we have concerns, that, we have proper counseling and we talk to people, that we can be able to liaise with. And so that's my advice. I think there's a lot of pamphlets out there. There's a lot of literature out there.
Even you have your Ministry of Health, the website, I have seen.
The website.
Yep.
I think the most important thing is this senior doctor told me this morning. As he said to me, he said, we have the knowledge. We just need to encourage our people to practice it.
Yeah, that's the main thing, to practice it. Yeah, very important. I mean, just keep telling everyone to lead a healthy life by eating well.
And that's the other important thing about, we've embarked on this, what we call universal health coverage as a Ministry of Health. And the three pillars are very simple. It's reaching the unreached, leaving no one behind, and reducing the out-of-pocket expenses of people. Because one of the reasons maybe that people don't come to the hospital is maybe because they have to buy, they have to, obviously pay for their bus or whatever to be able to get to hospital. And that's the importance of us going out into the community.
Okay.
And working in the community. So that's something that we want to do more and more this year.
That's really good. I mean, actually going to the people. Thank you very much, Minister, Honourable Minister, on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're enjoying the program. If you want to call in later, we are on a live radio talkback show. You can call 3220-906 if you have a question, or 7732906. We're back on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits, your only classic hits station in the country. And my guest, I have the Minister of Health, who has been really kind enough. I'm really appreciative of the fact that you have actually come and talked to the people. And this is, of course, Honorable Dr. Ifewemi Wanganambete, surgeon, and Pacific Island Food Revolution co-host, Dr. Chone Hawe. So to the next question, Dr. Chone, you are the co-host, as I've said, of Pacific Island Food Revolution. Now, it's a great show. I mean, you see all how, the wonderful cooking that you do using fresh food, I must stress. So I just wanted to say that how do we get the recipes for, these wonderful meals that you have on the show?
The recipes, you can find it on our website, the Pacific Island Food Revolution.com. All the recipes from season 1 are in there. We also put out some recipes on our Facebook page every now and then, sometimes as teasers, sometimes as just full educational material that's out there, just creating awareness of what people can do, how the ingredients they can play around with, as a light bulb moment for those recipes. Yeah, so you can find it on our website and on our Facebook page.
So, I mean, the food that you use, can you give an example if someone hasn't actually watched the show? But I'm sure they will, because FBC TV will be replaying it.
The interesting thing about this is all the ingredients are backyard. The usual roro, mbele, tumbua, and our competitors have used the flavors that we tend to just overlook, that are sold on our market tables, playing around with seasonal fruits, herbs and spices that are regularly there, and just putting their own twist to it. So if you look at the recipes that's available, you will see dhania, peppermint,
everything available,
the fruits that are available locally.
Market, yeah.
People know of it, but they might just have light bulb moments. Oh, so you can use this way as a flavor instead of just as a fruit. That's the extra twist to it, and it becomes much more interesting as a dish.
Okay.
Because we are using what we have come to say as the everyday roro.
Okay. Oh, I mean, roro is yummy, but a lot of people, they say, yeah, okay, they don't
Yeah,
roro.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love roro. I can even have it plain
if
boiled.
people look at the recipes and they follow it through and they ask the Food Revolution team, they might be surprised that roro is a total bomb.
Leta siri roro is very nice.
I understand that, Honorable Minister.
Yeah, fresh roro, can't beat it. I mean, palusami, I don't know if that's healthy though. Maybe it's still got a bit of...
Palusami is actually very healthy because coconut is a healthy fat. As a lot of people, for the past, there were studies that came out.
Not 10 coconut.
Oh, okay, right. That's a good point.
Well, nothing in excess is...
okay.
is
Well,
good,
actually, I use about 10 coconuts for mine, so I better cut it down then. And then sometimes they put, the tinned meat with it. So that should be a no-no, right? Should be plain roro with coconut. That's fine, right, Doctor? All right, then. So, Honorable Minister, some of us have been used to a certain diet, unfortunately, and that may include sugary drinks and instant noodles. That's a famous one, even at workplace. When we're getting a bit broke, we have instant noodles. I can say that I have a lot of noodles, but I add ginger, I add garlic, I add healthy stuff to it. But anyway, how is your ministry helping change behaviors away from processed food and towards healthy meals?
Yeah, first and foremost, we as a ministry must do it. So, that's something that we talked about when I came into the office and with the permanent secretaries. They say, look, we can't preach something that we don't, do ourselves. So that's something that we've changed within the Ministry of And that's
Okay.
something that I like to encourage, other organizations to do. So, when you have a meeting, just have fruits and vegetables. Have zomboy, have tea, and have a lot more fruits and have vegetables. When you're going to have a lunch meeting, incorporate that into that. We've also been recently having a look at reviewing, the diets that we have for patients and making sure that they're nutritious. We are blessed because we have dietitians, so their role is to make sure that, the food is nutritious and
That's provided at the hospitals?
at the hospitals, and
Yep.
that is their role. So we engaged them. We celebrated, I think it was International Women's Day, and our cake was made out of watermelon with fruits and everything, and they were involved. And so, it's interesting because then you begin to find that there's a lot of art around. There's a lot of very talented people who can work, with the fruits and vegetables that we have, similar to what's happening with Pacific Island Food Revolution. But I think the most important thing that also is one thing that we do when we go into the communities and we advocate health and try and talk to them about, getting away dengue, typhoid, and leptospirosis, and all the other things. Actually ask them to actually make a commitment. So we ask them, make a commitment, make a healthy commitment for your community. So some of them make commitments like, no tobacco-free village. Some of them have said,
Okay.
in our community hall, we won't smoke. Or we will have vegetarian every Monday. So they've made commitments. And I think that's the important thing, is, as an organization, for example, if a big company can say, look, this is our commitment to health. We're going to do this every Monday. We're going to do that. And also, we must encourage one another. So we support that. And I think that's important in terms of doing the small things right and then getting everybody together. As I said, we need to get traction. And it has to be in many, many forms rather than just a government approach. Everybody has to be on par.
Oh, that's very true. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Dr. Chone, what does Pacific Island Food Revolution do to change the diet of Fijians?
Quite a good number of years ago, when, and I'm sure the Honorable Minister would have had this experience too, when I was at a village, and an elderly lady apologized when she served me fresh roro and fish and cassava that was boiled, and she had lemon and chili. And she apologized to me. Vunuai, I'm sorry you are eating roro. And that sort of hit me right back then. And it's a mental valuation of our food. And a lot of it is, because of the influences that we've had, and we've discussed that.
Yes.
And so one thing we wanted to do with the show is just bring our food valuation as a mental process back on top. Just for us to be proud for once, and then let's keep on doing it.
Proud of the roro.
Proud of the roro, proud of
Proud of
mbele,
fresh
proud of
food, yes.
kumbua, proud of ota, proud of the fish.
Exactly.
And,
I mean, that's what our forefathers ate.
yes.
I mean, so many
Proud of the
years
ndalo
ago.
from Wala.
Yes.
Yes.
And roro from Naitasi.
Okay, Vinaka, on Speak Your Mind, this is Gold FM, only the classic hits. I do hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll be back soon with more. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is our last segment with our friends. Our guest today, the Minister of Health and Medical Services, that's the Honorable Dr. Ephraimi Wankanambete, surgeon, and Pacific Island Revolution co-host, Dr. Chone Hawea. I mean, it's so great to see that, you are pushing for, eating fresh food for the very reason that it can keep us healthy for as long as possible in our lifespan, right? So maybe you would like to tell us now, Honorable Minister, how is it important for the Ministry of Health to partner with projects such as the Pacific Island Food Revolution to help the ministry curb NCDs in Fiji?
the Ministry of Health has its core roles, and there are many other roles that are related to health. And that for that for that we are truly grateful for organizations such as Pacific Island Food Revolution, being able to show how you can make delicious healthy food from what we have locally. And I think that's important. We also partner with many organizations. As you know, we the Fiji Cancer Society and WOWS and the many other organizations that we work hand in hand with, and they play a role. As I said, health is very big, and so the core aspects of health is something that we want to make sure that we do very well.
Yes.
And organizations such as Pacific Island Food Revolution support us in those arenas, that and in space that we may be weak in. I think the other important thing is that it's actually showing that it is cool to be healthy. I think that's the most important thing. If there was a message that I want to put out today, is to say it is cool to be healthy. And we have to, as I've alluded to, many people have come to me and said, I lost a loved one very early in life. We have to understand that the whole key of this is to allow the Fijian population to live long and have not only the quantity of life, but the quality of life. So we have so much to give back to our children, to our grandchildren, but we can't do that if we are sick. We can't do that if we die early. Exactly. And so the importance of making sure that we live long, illustrious, and useful lives, so that we can have an impact on the next generation. Our children need support. I've got two 22-year-olds, and I thought when I was at 22 I was adult enough, but I realized then that I still needed mom and dad. And I think, my two 22-year-olds will actually, they still value that opportunities to be able to, have time with mom and dad. And I think we need to live long enough for our children and our grandchildren.
And that's so true. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So another question that I want to ask was, you had a meeting, right, in the Philippines last October. Now, you've supported the proposed regional action framework. This is on protecting children from harmful impact of food marketing in the Pacific. Can you please tell us about what the framework is about?
So as a WHO, the World Health Organization, and again, its own regions. So there are 6 regions in the world. One of them is the Western Pacific, and put across a framework around, protecting children from the harmful effects of food marketing. It's something that's not limited to Fiji. There are many countries around the Western Pacific region and also around the world that are moving in that regard. And so we are being contemporary in making sure that we also move with the time.
Yes.
But also the most important thing, we got to realize that we can't put all the money of the Ministry of Health in just looking after non-communicable disease.
Okay.
Looking at the end stage. We've got to put a lot more money in terms of prevention, advocacy, so that we can reduce this.
That's so true, because prevention is better than cure.
Prevention is better than cure.
Always. Yes. Okay, so for many parents, telling their children to say no to junk food is easier said than done, right? So what, in your view, Honorable Minister, should parents do to ensure that their children eat healthy local food?
I think the most important thing is to have a talno session. I think it's important just to keep on talking. No, I'm talking here as a parent, so
yes.
We must have that discussion. We must have that discussion.
True.
And we must lead by example. So I think that's important. So I'm a vegetarian.
Yes.
I've been a vegetarian for 6 months now.
Okay.
Don't eat any fish, anything, but I've done it for a few things. Number one is because I feel it's important to lead by example, and I also feel it's important for my children to see that you can eat green leafy vegetables and still survive. So I think, as I said, it's us as a parents, and again, we need to be able to talk about it, but we also have to be able to live and do it.
Yes, so our children will see how we live, and also drill it into their brain that if they want to lead a healthy life, is to eat healthy.
To eat healthy.
Fresh food, no processed food.
No processed food.
I mean, processed maybe just a little bit, no?
Yeah, it's finding that balance. I think it's about finding that important balance.
All right, then. So maybe Dr. Chone, where can we watch Pacific Island Food Revolution?
Well, you can watch it right on FBC.
Yes.
Season 1 will replay on February 9th.
Great.
Every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. Or you can also visit our website and watch the season 1 episodes from there. Some of our profiles episodes are on our Facebook page. On our Facebook page under Pacific Island Food Revolution, of course. And straight after season 1 replay from February 9th onwards will be season 2.
Oh.
So, stay tuned to FBC and you will be able to catch season 2 also.
So any hint of what we're to expect to watch?
A lot of explosive, nutritious,
And you'll see Dr. John
Fijian
Howard.
cuisine.
Okay.
And of course me.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So you've already told us where we can get the recipes. Now, I understand that the Pacific Island Food Revolution is giving away prizes.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
From season 1, we had these eco bags, and we are giving these as giveaways, also with T-shirts and cooking aprons.
Okay.
So for you to get these prizes, get to our Facebook page, and it will detail out how you can get one of these wonderful eco bags. And we are so. It's amazing that it was well aligned now with government's non-plastic move, and so these eco bags are readily available. But get onto our Facebook page and we'll tell you what to do.
But this one is here is for me today.
This is for you, Honorable Minister, because of the 6 months vegetarian.
Okay, well, that's a great job. 6 months of being a vegetarian. I'm sure I could do that too. Actually, now I don't really like meat that much. I feel a bit sick when I have too much meat, so I prefer the vegetables, yes. Anyway, so I understand that Pacific Island Food Revolution is also has recipes for children.
Yes, we were fortunate to be well supported with wonderful partners, Australian government, the New Zealand government. And for season 1, we had a special challenge in one of the episodes that is for the competitors to cook a dish that is to be served to the first 1,000 days of life. So from pregnancy to that'll be
3 years old.
to 3 years old, first 1,000 days.
Excellent.
And so we partnered with UNICEF for that, and we are really grateful to their support in this, and for us to be able to send out the message of good nutrition that starts from the womb.
True.
To the tomb.
Yes.
That's how the
Oh, yes,
Ministry of Health
that really makes a lot of sense. From the womb to the tomb.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you want to live a long life, eat
Yes.
fresh, local, healthy food.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm sure your messages have gone across to people listening in. Thank you again for coming in to speak your mind.
Thank you very much.
Vinaka Vakalevu. And my guest today, again, the Minister of Health and Medical Services, the Honorable Dr. Iferemi Wanganembete, who has been kind enough to come into the studio and, be a champion of eating fresh local food, as well as a co-host of the Pacific Island Food Revolution, Dr. Chone Hawea Vinaka.